Today we're discussing what would be the greatest gift that you could give your teen? What would be that gift of the highest value? And what does a movie have to do with this anyway? So we're going to talk about those things, but also I want to show you the cycle of learning and what we go through as we learn and progress. So see where you are on that cycle, but more importantly, this is something that we want to teach our teens. So if you're ready, join in today. Well, hello. You are listening to the No Brainers Empowering Possibilities show. These are invitations to ahas, a little bit of science, some fresh perspectives, a dash of behavioral psychology, some easy skills that you can try now, even today, and a whole lot of creative fun. So if leveling up is on your radar, my friend, you are at the right show. I'm your host, Roseanne Marsh, and I'm the author of the Teen and the Parent Empowerment Curriculum called Level Up, Empowering Possibilities. And you are listening to episode number 49, the ultimate gift that you can give your teen. I was discussing with a friend, what would be the perfect gift to give our teens? I was discussing with a friend, what would be that perfect gift to give your teens? I mean, I usually try to give something that they want, something that they need, and something that's just for pure joy. But what would be that great gift? And we were throwing out, 3D printers or tools or clothes. But there was one thing that I passionately wanted to give them. But I was trying to figure out what would that even look like? Because they would involve their buy-in, of course. And well, their agendas are not always the ones that I would have wished for them. You see, the perfect gift I desired to give this holiday was a gift to help them become who they were capable of becoming. The gift of being. The gift of stepping into who I know they were meant to be and capable of being. My friend just laughed and she said, that is a tall order, but I'm curious to see what you've got cooked up. And I thought, this isn't about me, but it's more about an internal motivation for them to grow into what their dreams are. So how do I open up the conversation or the realizations that to reach their dreams, they have to be capable of that dream? And as I thought about my own capacity, the thought came to me, does the universe think you're ready for your blessings? I thought, whoa. Have I learned what I need to learn to progress to the next level? Have I earned the right to have certain privileges and capacities because of what I've experienced, what I've learned, what I've developed? Those things that I want to be involved in, those projects I want to produce. Do I have the experience, the talent, the resources to make them happen? Am I becoming what I think I am? And my teens, are my boys progressing in a way that will get them to their desired destination? I have one son who is bound and determined to have a custom body shop for cars. He tinkers and he welds, and then he sells a car only to start all over again and do something different. And really, he is gaining experience through trial and error. And there's a lot of error as he tries something he's never done before, but I'm so proud of him for trying and dreaming and failing and still trying, right? That's what it's about. Not being afraid of failure. And the other son dreams of being a gamer extraordinaire and selling his product ideas online. It's a competitive field. And while he knows a lot, there has to be some shortcuts that he can take. And this is just one part of their life. What they love to do and who they are innately inside of themselves is quite another thing, right? Do they have compassion? Do they have discernment? Can they see the Trojan horses that are lurking around every corner and every social media platform? And my list went on. And then I remembered an amazing movie that had impacted me so many years ago. You're probably going to remember this one. If you haven't seen it, this is a to-do for sure tonight with your family, because this is your family Christmas movie. It's called The Ultimate Gift. It's an old movie from 2006, but it's a powerful story that touches on some of the most important life lessons, such as the power of love, family, friendship, laughter, and even problems. The story inspires people to realize that the only way you can truly get more out of life for yourself is to give part of yourself away. So the story is about a wealthy billionaire, and he passes away and he leaves a fortune to his already overindulged relatives who live privileged and somewhat compromised lives. So all receive something except for his spoiled and passionless 26-year-old grandson named Jason. So all the heirs are asked to leave the room, and Jason was asked to stay there alone. So Jason starts to walk out of the attorney's office, and throwing over his shoulder, he says, "I already know what he left me, nothing." And the attorney quickly adds, "Walk away and you will never know, will you?" So he comes back and his grandfather offers an inheritance, but only after a year of going through 12 gifts that he doesn't know are going to give him life experiences. And since his grandfather has passed away, his pre-recorded video messages and his lifelong friend and attorney are the ones that are going to lead him to that ultimate gift. So this is based on a book by Jim Stovall. And Jim lost his sight as an older teenager, and all the things he learned while going blind inspired his ideas and the gifts for this story. So parents, you need to know the ultimate gift is faith-based. It's a message drama that includes several deaths and has some sad moments. But those messages are so compelling. And even after years after seeing that movie, I remember so poignantly the experiences that he goes through. So without giving away the movie, because if you honestly have not seen it, it is well worth your time and well worth having your junior high age or even maybe younger on up. It is rated PG. But what I love about this movie is that it elicits so much conversation and life messages that you can discuss afterwards. There's companion guides and lesson guides that you can get on the internet, and a lot of questions that you can pose that are going to dovetail into what we're talking about today. So these monthly gifts that he has given are literally a subtle journey of life transformation. And he's going to come away with a true meaning of what life really is all about. Albert Einstein said, "The only source of knowledge is experience." There's so many ways that we can experience things. It can be learning about it through reading or watching a movie or a video, or having that sensory experience of stepping into that, or Jason's experience from the Ultimate Gift movie, where it was hands-on, in your face, changing paradigms and walking into a world that he didn't know or even understand. And he didn't even know that he needed to know this. So as far as he knew, he thought he'd arrived. He thought he had what he needed, albeit he had a very unsatisfied life, still searching for something or not knowing really what he was searching for or what he was lacking. He didn't realize that he wasn't ready for his blessings because he'd never had the experiences that would prepare him to step into them. Without giving away a lot of the movie, some of the gifts he experiences are the gift of work, appreciation and satisfaction that comes from earning something, the gift of friends, true loyal friends that are hard to find, and so you need to treat them well, the gift of learning, having that burning desire and that love for self-education, the gift of problems. These prepare us for what's ahead of us, so embrace them and enjoy the accomplishments and learn from them. The gift of family. And some are born with wonderful families, and others have to find and create their own tribe. And either way, it's an essential piece of our earth experience to have community and to find a tribe. And the gift of dreams, seeing yourself accomplishing goals and desires before you live the dream. Now, this is just a partial list. That's just 6 of the 12 that he learns about. So let's go back and explore a little bit about the premise behind his grandfather knowing that the way to save his grandson, or the way to prepare him for life, was to give him experiences that he had never, even in his life of lavish abundance, had never experienced. It had never dawned on him that the experiences he was having were not the ones that would help him become a man of integrity and value. But his grandfather knew what those experiences needed to be. I'm reminded of a leadership training that I attended more than 35 years ago, and the instructor went to the board and drew a square, and then drew a vertical line across the middle, and then a horizontal line across down the middle. So it ended up being, I'm reminded of a leadership training that I attended more than 35 years ago, and the instructor went to the board, drew a square, and then drew a line horizontally across the middle, and then vertically down the middle. So it ended up being 4 grids. And he told us that this was, in essence, the learning cycle, or a way for us to see where we were in our consciousness in learning. Now, the horizontal line across the grid on the far left, for those of you who are listening to this versus seeing it, on the far left, it was uneducated, unskilled, all the way as you took it across to the right, that was knowledgeable. So you went from uneducated to knowledgeable on that matrix. From the vertical matrix, from the top to the bottom, that was you were conscious and then you were unconscious towards the bottom. Conscious and then unconscious. So you can see the very bottom 2 grids were about a state of being unconscious. And the 2 matrices above, the 2 grids above, were about being conscious. And then if you were to look at the 2 grids on the left-hand side, looking vertically, that was about being incompetent. And those on the right were about being competent. So let me walk you through this so that makes a little bit more sense. So when we start out in life, sometimes we don't realize there are things that we don't know. Let's apply this to a goal or something that we want to do. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And in that lower left-hand side, we are that unconscious incompetent. But as we become aware and cognizant of the fact that, oh, there are things that I need to learn if I want to arrive at this destination. And if you go up the grid to the top, right above that, you become a conscious incompetent, meaning, and let's look at the definition of incompetent. Incompetent just means lacking the skills and the tools. It doesn't mean that you're inept, never going to learn this, whatever. It just means for the sake of this conversation, we just don't have the skills quite yet. But we awaken to the part of, oh, I need to know this part of it. But now I'm conscious of that. From there, as we gain the skills and we go to the right-hand side of the grid across the top, so the square at the top right-hand side, we become a conscious competent. We're knowledgeable, we're conscious of it, we know what we know how to do, and we're learning the skills. And we're tucking that into our tool belt. Now, if you go down in the grid, the far right corner now, because I'm taking you in a circle around this grid, starting from the bottom left up and around, you become an unconscious competent. Now, wait, how do they go from a conscious competent to an unconscious competent? Well, when we get a skill and it becomes innate and it becomes a part of us, now it goes down into the subconscious. And it's something that we automatically do, because that's what the subconscious does. It runs these patterns for us. And when that new skill has become a pattern for us, the subconscious takes over and it keeps us there. It's really brilliant. The brain is fantastic. And then we start that cycle over again. There's things that we don't know. And then there's things that we realize now that we need to know that we don't know. And then we start to know what we know, and then we know it, but we don't have to think about it. So it just cycles around and around. Now, as we're talking to our teens, or for us, when we look at this matrix going from uneducated to knowledgeable, You can even dissect one little facet of what needs to happen. Let's say, for example, your son or daughter wants to go away to Harvard, just throwing out that as an example. What are the steps of getting there? Well, there's probably things they don't know that they need to know to be able to get there, such as what is the GPA they have to have? What are the subjects they need to have? What are the scholarship qualifications? I mean, you could list out so many different things that you help them understand. There are things you don't know that you need to know. And then they drop into, oh, okay, I need to know this. Then they can start working on the skills to become competent. Of course, we're working on several things at a time, right? We never just focus on one thing. And I love this because I found myself sometimes struggling in life and realizing there were things that I needed to know that I didn't know. And then when the light bulb went on, or I'm exposed to someone or something that has the ability to shine some light on to, well, if you want to get there, you're going to need to know this, or you're going to have to go through this, or try this, or learn this. And it's like, oh, okay, now I know what I don't know. And now I can apply, I can learn, I can progress, and I can become in that one facet of what I need to do to eventually arrive at whatever it is I'm doing. Let's take the example now of my son who wants to have the custom auto body shop. There are a lot of things he's going to need to know to run a business. One of which is really understanding what it takes, how many hours it takes to make a repair, how much money does it cost for those parts, and how much do you have to charge for labor? Because you can't give someone an estimate, say it's going to cost this, with no idea how many hours and what's in it, or how expensive that kind of a part is for that type of a model of a vehicle. And in our conversations, quite frankly, he doesn't want to stop and look at that because it's just a passion for him. And he gets excited about just working. But yet, if he's going to go into a business, those are the things that he doesn't know, but that will stop him from that circle of learning, which is a piece of the puzzle of the dream that he has that he wants to arrive at. So he's really been in a place of unconscious incompetent, doesn't have the skills yet to understand the big picture of covering costs. He just knows he loves it. And he's ready to throw open the doors for business, but he really hasn't thought through what he'd have to charge to be able to cover his rent, his electricity, the other person that would be helping, the parts, because it's just been something he's been passionate about. But as our discussions have gone forth, he's now become a conscious incompetent and realizes that, yes, this is something I'm going to have to learn and I'm going to have to track as I'm creating and doing custom work, and asking myself, what would I have to charge to make this worthwhile in real life so that I can pay my bills? And as he continues to build those skills, he'll grow into a conscious competent. He can work on those other facets that it takes to be able to run a business. Think about your teens right now. What is the goal that they're working towards? What is something you're wanting to achieve? And when we look at those goals and dissect out what skills are needed, what knowledge is needed, or what assistance is needed, we can actually walk them and ourselves through that learning cycle. Here's where this skill is really valuable. When we can throw away ego, and when we can get really curious and adventuresome about where reality is with us and where we want to be, it's like this roadmap for us. And it isn't about, oh, you're nothing because look where you score on this. It's about, oh, this is where I am. So now what? What's the next right step? And that brings me to the next piece, to become a conscious, confident, and have knowledgeable skills. And that's to have experiences, right? We learn through experiences, that hands-on experience to give us those skills. I am a fan of Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey. I know you're very familiar with that. So I love learning about cycles. But I think one of the most important pieces in that, at the very beginning of that hero's journey, is when we have a mentor. Think about how much faster the learning curve is achieved when we have someone who has gone before, or someone who can say, this is where you're going to hit the mountain, or this is where the monsters are going to be, or this is when you're going to want to give up. But you got to realize that right over that hill is the freedom piece, or this is the part of the skill that's going to be the most difficult, and this might be the easiest. So this is how you're going to tackle this. Or don't give up. Don't you realize that you're almost there? Or, okay, it was too hard. Now let's break that down in tinier pieces. Let's incrementally build that success for you. As a parent, we are mentors to our children. But are there other mentors out in the community? And the community can be the internet, wherever, that can teach our children and accelerate them from that place of unconscious incompetence to that place of conscious competence. And it literally takes being curious, adventurous. When we leave our ego behind and say, man, this is what I want to learn, and this is what I haven't learned yet, and this is what I need to do for the next step. I'm so excited about it. When we look back on the Ultimate Gift movie, it was a crash course in 12 different areas. And there was a huge learning curve for him because he didn't even know that he needed these things, because life had never required it. And quite honestly, he didn't desire it, even when he knew that it was probably best for him. But his grandfather knew that to save his grandson, and he saw a spark in him. He knew of his capabilities, and he knew that money and no expectations were ruining him. But that process of becoming, of gathering those tools and skills, that process of becoming that I truly desire for my children, it truly is what I desire for myself too, that I will continue to go through that cycle, continue to go through the hero's journey, continue to have the courage to face those caves that I fear, knowing that the treasures that I seek are going to be in there. I love Joseph Campbell said that follow your bliss and the universe will open doors for you. I started this show out with, does the universe think you're ready for your blessings? Well, when we have the skills, when our teens have the skills, when our children have the skills, the opportunities come forward, the mentors come out, the learning continues, and it goes over and over and over again until we become. The movie reawakened in me that desire to not only help my children create business, but my desire to help them become young men that understand the power of work, the value of a good friend, the necessity of family or tribe, the necessity for charity and service, how to dream, and most importantly, how to give love. Well, have I taught my kids how to love? And if I love them, I need to help them become. It's not just about businesses, it's about virtues and integrity. Many have already planned their goals for 2023. But isn't it about a static goal? The goals we should be setting are the goals of becoming something, because in the process of becoming that, we will do and hit all these other things in that cycle of learning. So what is that piece that takes us to the conscious competent, that allows us to seek out what we need to be competent and be able to move the earth within our microcosm? What can we do to help our teens know that what they don't know? How can we help them with the next step? How can we help them find the mentors that can guide them along their way and help them from that conscious incompetence to conscious and knowledgeable and competent? The process of learning, the process of becoming is the greatest gift we can give our teens and children. And that's the help and assistance to get them to their goals and desires that are of highest value. So the universe will say, you are prepared for your blessings. We're creators and we create our lives. but we need to know what to create. My blessing is for all of us that we will know the next right step in the journey to become. If you're interested in becoming a mentor in your family, becoming a mentor of other teens, becoming a mentor of other adults, I invite you to check out Level Up Empowering Possibilities. We have the curriculum, we have the lesson plans, we have the activities, we have the discussions, all planned out for you. These are the critical skills of becoming men and women of integrity. Go on over to levelupteen.com/learn more. Hey, thanks for listening today.